says it's starting, but nothing's moving. Oh, it says it's streaming to 5 destinations. Yes. Hello, I'm trying something new here on Switchboard, and I'm going in so many different places now that I've actually no idea where I'm going. And I'm not even sure whether I can see comments. I don't think I can, so I might have to go back after and check any comments that people are doing. So as far as I know, I'm going live on Parent Plus, on the private page. Literally, I'm live all over the place.
You could just have Facebook open. So you don't need to look at any of them now, do you? You just look at...
I've got my son here who's telling me what I could do. I don't need to look at any of that now. I could just open a Facebook page, evidently, and then I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't even know what's happening, but we'll not do that. So I was asked a question this week, and this just looks very peculiar. I'm going to move that over so I actually look like I'm looking at the camera. I was asked a question this week by somebody over on the parenting site, so I'm going to answer that, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the membership. And I did a podcast this week. You can catch it on YouTube. If you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please go and subscribe. I think I'm up to 50 subscribers now, and I need 100 so I can change the title of it. So just jump over and subscribe. I did a video and a podcast all around why therapists charge the amount that they do, and I would love you to go and listen to it, because it's kind of something that I've been toying with for a while. And I decided to do a bit of a video on it. I wasn't ranting. I was just trying to get some points across. It's been brought to my attention, and I know that there are other therapists out there that people have mentioned, you know, why do you charge the amount that you do when you're offering help to people that maybe aren't in the best place with their mental health or finances, or various things. And it's really difficult sometimes to come to terms with why we charge what we do. But basically this podcast and this video goes into explaining it to a degree, that we have a lot of outgoings. You know, if we rent a room privately, we've got to be members of certain bodies, we need personal insurance, we need supervision, we need to do continuous professional development, we need to keep up to date and be registered with GDPR, whatever. See, there's so many things, even I forget what they are. So it's kind of like the knock-on effect of that. So I talk about that in the podcast and on YouTube, so feel free to go ahead and listen to that. But I also go on to talk about the membership that I have, and the reason why I set that membership up. It's not therapy, you know, it's based on therapeutic principles, and you have support from a qualified psychotherapist within that. And I thought that was important, because that's my way of paying it forward for people that can't afford to see a psychotherapist on a one-to-one private basis. The other thing is that, you know, it's important when we're getting support that we're not just going to a group on Facebook that isn't really moderated by somebody that knows things about mental health, if that makes sense. It's a really safe space, you know, for people to share their experiences, but sometimes having lots of people sharing experiences around anxiety and things can be quite triggering for the other members of that group. So it's important that you take care of yourself when you're on social media. There's been a lot of things lately that have been posted around that, so it's important that you make sure that you're safe in the spaces that you're accessing online. So that's my bit of a rant over with now. So the question that I was asked was around being around toxic people, which is quite a difficult one, really, because again, I often talk about our state of mind and where our own mental health is, because things can impact on us differently dependent on where we are. And what does a toxic person mean? What does it look like? If it means that we've reacted to something that they're saying or they've got a difference of opinion, one of the things I often say to people is that, you know, people are entitled to their own opinion, and other people's opinion is none of our business. We're all different, we're all unique, we all have a past, and our thoughts and experiences and opinions and beliefs are all completely different. So for me, it links into self-care. You know, it is important that we take care of ourselves, and it is important that, you know, if we are in a work situation or a member of a group, that we don't take on board a lot of that negativity that often can be in those places. So one, it's making sure that we're okay. Two, how somebody else receives information isn't our responsibility. This particular person was, you know, they'd done something that they thought was positive and it was received not very well at the other end. So the intent was positive, you know, they were trying to help and assist somebody else, but the other person received it in a negative way. And that can be quite a difficult situation, particularly if it's a work situation, because sometimes if, you know, we get hold of the wrong end of the stick or the wires have got crossed, it can lead to conflict. And at the moment, I think a lot of us are quite sensitive to that. You know, we're cooped up a lot of the time with nothing but our own thoughts to mull over. So when you get a group of people together, and I've spoken about this in the past as well, if you look at all the different driver behaviours that we have, the be strong, please others, be perfect, try hard and hurry up. You know, in a work situation, you can have people with all these different personality types that have to coexist for a certain amount of time during the day. And if you've got somebody that's got a be strong driver that likes to take control of the situation, that isn't very mindful of people's emotions some of the time, it's kind of like they're in their head and I need to get this done and I need to get this sorted and I've only got this amount of time, so I can't be doing with that emotional stuff. It can be perceived, you know, not in the best light sometimes. And it's not that their intention is to upset anybody, it's just that they're focused on what they need to do, and quite rigid in their thinking some of the time. You might get somebody that's, you know, got a be perfect driver that needs to make sure that the finest little detail is taken care of and everything is done. And you've got somebody with a hurry up driver that is like, it doesn't matter about the detail, we just need to get this done, we need to get it out, we've got a deadline and we need to do it. And then you've got a people pleaser that's trying to please everybody that's in that room. If you look at it from that sort of psychological point of view, it's no wonder that at times people get hold of the wrong end of the stick, or people's emotions sometimes are quite heightened in that situation. Put on top of that, not only have you got different personalities in that room, but you've also got people that might be struggling with certain things at the moment, particularly with family. There might be illness, anxiety and stress about what's going on, you know, not only in the work situation, but family situations and everything else. It's no wonder sometimes that we do have conflict, or that we feel like somebody's being really negative about stuff when we're trying to be positive. There's always somebody there that's doing the, yeah, but, you know, this is happening or that's happening. And it's about looking at things with compassion, you know, trying to look outside of your reaction and your response to something and looking at the other person with compassion, that, you know, none of us know what somebody else is going through in their life. And even though it might be harsh the way that they've responded or reacting to us in that moment, we don't know what's going on for them. So it's really, you know, helpful in those situations if we just focus on ourselves in that moment, and we don't, you know, project anything out that, you know, yeah, my response to that might have been quite negative. I might have took it personally, but they might have had reasons for doing that. The other thing that, you know, I often say is that somebody else can't make us feel anything, as in, you know, sometimes people say things like, oh, they made me so angry, or they made me so sad, whatever. Nobody has the power to make us feel anything. It's our thoughts about what that person has done that makes us feel a certain way. So it's our thoughts around it, which sometimes makes it easier when we're not pinning it on somebody else, when we understand that it's my thoughts about that. I went into that room and I was trying to be really positive and do something nice for that group of people or that person, and they didn't take it the way that I meant it to be, and I'm really upset by their reaction to it. If we can then take a step back from that and understand that there was a miscommunication, something happened, it's not personal, and the reality is I didn't get the response I was expecting, and therefore that's upset me. It kind of takes away some of the energy from that, you know, confrontation or that communication. That if we can look at ourselves rather than projecting it out, that person made me feel this way, or they took it the wrong way and they've made me react or get angry or do whatever it is. If we can kind of step back from that as an observer and try and understand with compassion, one, what they're going through, and two, that my reaction is possibly because I was expecting a different result and I didn't get it, and I can do something with that, might be helpful. I'm quite distracted tonight because I've got all these different things that are going on in front of me. I've still got little things whirring around saying I've not started yet. I've also got something, it's like a flight deck on an aeroplane. I've got 3 people watching in one place and 1 person watching in somewhere else. So there's an awful lot of stuff going on. I need to get my head around doing this on a weekly basis, because I'm sure it's very good and I'm sure I'm reaching more people, or I will do over time, but it's a bit daunting. So if I've been a little bit distracted tonight, I do apologise. But feel free to message me. If anybody's commented on this, I will go back and flick through and answer them. But hopefully you got something from that. Just being curious around certain situations in work or in family, or, you know, we're coming up to the end of lockdown. We're starting to come out the other side. The kids are back in school now. I would imagine schools are quite a hodgepodge of lots of emotions at the moment, whether that's the staff that are working within schools, whether it's parents that are, you know, starting to send their children back into school, whether it's the children that are actually attending school. There's going to be a lot of emotion flying around at the moment. So if there is one overarching piece of advice that I could give, it would be a couple of things really. One is, you know, be compassionate. Rather than reacting and responding in a negative way, if we can be more compassionate with the other person, even if we don't get the response that we want, even if we feel like we've been misunderstood, or if we feel like they were being quite negative and toxic towards something that we intended to be quite a positive thing, if we can be compassionate with the other person in that situation, it's going to make us feel a little bit better about things. If we take it all personally, then we're going to be on the back foot with that relationship, and things are difficult for an awful lot of people. our state of mind changes if we're tired, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we've got things going on, if our mind is just in another place. I know for me sometimes I can be quite distracted. I've held my hand up tonight, told this is quite distracting. But, you know, my son can ask me something and I can be quite short-tempered in my response just because I'm not really paying attention to what he's saying. Or I'm thinking that I've got to go shopping or I've got to do this. So my mind's half on it and half off it. We never actually know what is going on for that other person. So yeah, I hope that's helped. Feel free to ask me any more questions if you've got any, or comment or post, and I will get back to you over the weekend with things. If you've got any more questions for me to answer next week, I am going to be doing these lives religiously every Friday at 7:30. And if this all goes according to plan across the board, it is quite difficult to not see anything from the other side, how many people are watching, or if anybody's posted, or if there's any emojis flying around, because that's sometimes a bit of feedback. So I'm not sure whether I will continue with this or try and do something different. I'm not even sure I want to stop this now either, which isn't very good. So I could just be on here all night long because I don't know how to turn it off. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye and try and stop. Oh, I found a button that says finish. That's always a bonus, isn't it, when you're doing a live? So I'm going to click finish. I will be back here same time, same place next week. Feel free to comment. If you've got any questions, you can email me, jackie@jackiejones.co.uk. Have a listen to the podcast. I think this was my 61st episode, so there's quite a few episodes that you can listen to on there. I've got some more people booked in to do some conversations for the podcast over the next couple of weeks. If you've got a topic that you would like me to talk about on the podcast, feel free to pop that in. Or even better, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, I am open to talking to anybody. The title of the podcast is Living Life Being Human, so providing you're a human being, I'm quite happy to have a discussion with you on there. And share your stuff, share your experiences. If you've got something to offer somebody else, if you want to start your own podcast and want to explore it and have a conversation around that, it can be about mental health, it can be about anxiety. If you've got a business that you're running, whatever it is, get in touch and hopefully we could do some sort of a collaboration together. So I'm going to go now, and have a good weekend, and I shall see you all next week. Take care.